Hey friends, it's Greg here at Drum for Change, back for lesson 2 in our virtual learning series. Today's rhythm is from a little country in the Caribbean called Belize. I got to go study there 5 years ago through a grant from the United Arts Council. And I studied the music of the Garifuna people there. The Garifuna, or Garinagu in plural, were the descendants of shipwrecked African slaves. 2 Spanish ships crashed onto the shores of the island of St. Vincent. And the slaves that managed to survive met and married the local native population, a mix of Arawak and Carib Indians. And when the British and the French fought over the island, the Garifuna people were exiled, and they paddled across the Gulf of Honduras and settled along the shores of Central America in what are now called the countries of Belize, Guatemala, and Honduras. Now, as of 20 years ago, UNESCO designated the Garifuna culture as endangered. So there are only about 500,000 of these folks left on the planet. It's a beautiful tradition, and they are one of the thriving rhythmic cultures here on the planet. And when I say rhythmic cultures, I'm talking about places where people drum as part of their everyday life. They play these big barrel drums that are carved from tree trunks, and they're covered with the skin of deer or pig. And, it's just one of those things where there's no Walmart to go buy your drums, and so you make them out of whatever you have available. The rings that hold those skins onto the drum shells are made of vines that have been shaped and dried, and the tuning is done with nylon ropes and twist pegs to tighten up the drum head. Also in the ensemble are big shakers that look like maracas. They're called sisara. And in modern music, they use a turtle shell to add some wooden sounds to the mix of the music. In the tradition, there's a higher drum and a lower drum. The higher drum is called the primero. The lower drum is called the segundo. And they are crossed with wires to create snares on top of the drum heads. It's a really wonderful sound. In the villages where they play these drums, they have this song and dance called Chumba. That's C-H-U-M-B-A. And it's a way to check in at the end of your day. The groups would come together. The drummers play these drums. The singers sing these songs. And they play and sing and dance the Chumba. And what it is the dance of everyday things. And so folks would come out into the middle of the dance circle, and they would demonstrate what they'd been up to by acting it out, dramatic style, with a dance in the middle of the circle. It's really, really fantastic. And so today I want to teach you that drum pattern, and maybe you can use this at home to check in with your families and see what it is that you might have liked to have been up to all day. Check it out. Okay, ready to learn the Chumba? We're going to start with a mnemonic, a memory device to help us retain the pattern that we're going to play on our drums. It goes like this. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. Now we're going to take that pattern, the if you can say it, you can play it kind of idea, and we're going to translate that onto our drums. The first note is a bass note in the center. Everything else is going to be an open note on the edge. Here we go. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. Here's more. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. Let's talk about the handing. Here's what's happening. First note's a bass. I play that with my dominant hand. In my case, that's my right hand. This is what? That's a right left. And then we skip. And we go to our left hand. I'd like to do left, right. And then we skip again and we go all day with our right, left. All together it's bass, right, left, right, right, left. Bass, right, left, right, 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 left. Bass, right, left, This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. This is what I'd like to do all day. Now, here's where the real fun starts to happen. When you do this in a group of people, you start to share the dance. The Chumba is all about the check-in in the community. It's how we let each other know what we've been up to. So as the community would gather at the end of the day, down in the village in Belize, the Garifuna people would come out and they would play these drums and they would shake those sisera and they would do this dance. And the dance is the dance of everyday things. It's about sharing what you've been up to. So someone might come out and their dance would look like this because they've been digging all day. Someone else, they might come out and their dance looks like this because they've been kneading dough to make and bake bread all day. Someone else, their dance might look like this because they've been scrubbing clothes on the washboard and hanging it on the line to dry. So use this at home to check in with your family. And during this time of lockdown and corona crisis, maybe you can share the things that you'd rather be doing all day when you can get outside and play. Hope you've enjoyed this little lesson on Chumba from the Garifuna people of Belize. I'm Greg at Drum for Change, wishing you a great day and a life in rhythm and harmony.